Today we are going to talk about this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 1, which is titled as If You Want to Gather Honey, Don't Kick Over the Beehive. The principal author shared here is to don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Gathering honey here is referred to as relationships in life, and don't kick over the beehive means don't ruin them by criticizing, complaining, which author further explains by giving many examples. The very idea of author here is to, even after terrible deeds, humans don't really blame themselves or regard themselves as bad people. Most of them use a form of reasoning, fallacious or logical to justify their actions to themselves and to the world. He also quoted John Vanama's word, I learned 30 years ago that it is foolish to scold. I have enough trouble overcoming my own limitations and without fretting over the fact that God has not seen fit to distribute evenly the gift of intelligence. Criticism is futile, and it puts a person to justify themselves. It wounds a person's pride, hurts his sense of importance, and arouses resentment. Authors also says that first begin changes in yourself, and quotes do not complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof when your own doorstep is unclean. He further went on to give example of Sir Benjamin Franklin. He said the secret of his success is, I will speak ill of no man and speak all good I know of everybody. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. It takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. The author gives example of Father Forgets by Livingston Larned. I personally really like this, so I'm gonna quote it as it is. Father Forgets by Livingston Larned. Listen, son, I'm saying this to you as you lie asleep, with one little paw crumpled under your cheek, and the blonde curls stickingly wet on your damp forehead. I have stolen into your room alone, just a few minutes ago. As I sat reading my paper in the library, a stifled wave of remorse stepped over me. Guiltily I came to your bedside. There are the things I was thinking, son. I had been cross to you. I scolded you as you were dressing for school because you gave your face merely a dab with dal. I took you to the task for not cleaning your shoes. I called out angrily when you threw some of your things on the floor. At breakfast I found your fault too. You split things, you gulped down your food, you put your elbows on the table, you spread butter too thick on your bread. And as you started off to play and I made for my train, you turned down and waved a hand and called, Goodbye, Daddy. As I frowned and said in reply, Hold your shoulders back. Then it began all over me again in the afternoon. As I came up on the road I spied you, down on your knees, playing marbles. There were the holes in your stockings. I humiliated you before your boyfriends by marching you ahead of me to the house. Stockings were expensive, and if you had to buy them, you would be more careful. Imagine that, son, from a father. Do you remember later, when I was reading in the library, how you came timidly, with a sort of hurt look in your eyes, when I glanced up over my paper, impatient at the interruption? You hesitated at the door. What is it that you want? I snapped. You said nothing, but ran across in one tempestuous plunge, and threw your arms around my neck and kissed me, and your small arms tightened with an affection that God has set, blooming in your heart, with which even the needlet could not wither. And then you were gone, pattering up to the stairs. Well, son, it was shortly afterward that my paper slipped from my hands and a terrible sickening fear came over me. What has this habit has doing to me? The habit of finding fault, of parroting. This was my reward to you for being a boy. It was not that I did not love you, and it was that I expect too much of youth. I was measuring you by my yardstick of my own years. And there was so much that was good and fine and true in your character, and the little heart of you was as big as the dawn itself over the wide hills. This was shown to you by spontaneous impulse of rush in and kiss me good night. Nothing else mattered tonight, son. I have came to you, to your bedside in the darkness, and I have knelt there, ashamed. It is a feeble atonement. I know you would not understand these things if I were to told you during my waking hours, but tomorrow I will be a real daddy. I will chum with you and suffer when you suffer, and laugh when you laugh. I will bite my tongue with impatient words come. I will keep saying it as if for a ritual. He is nothing but a boy, a little boy. and I'm afraid I have visualized you as a man. Yet as I see you now, son, crumpled, weary in your coat, I see you that you're still a baby. Yesterday you were in your mother's arms, and your head on her shoulder. I have asked too much, too much. The author ends the chapter by saying, to know all is to forgive all. And instead of condemning people, let's try to figure out why they do what they do. And as the Dr. Johnson said, God himself does not propose to judge a man until the end of his days, so why should you and I?